Thank you. Thank you, Allstate, and all of you for being here. What a great turnout today. Thank you again for giving us a brief part of your day to explain a little bit about what we do. Real quick, I just wanted to give you a little overview of the Illinois Fatherhood Initiative. I'm currently president of the organization, which is an all-volunteer run and led organization. Statewide, it was the first nationwide fatherhood organization founded in the country. Been around since 1997. And in essence, we work to connect children and fathers. That's at the core of our mission, is connecting children and fathers. We do this in a variety of ways. I think we all know there's far too many kids out there that grow up without a dad active in their lives. And that can be a father figure, grandfather, uncle. But a lot of kids grow up without that. Approximately 24 million kids nationwide, over 1 million kids in the state of Illinois don't have that on a regular basis in their lives. So our goal is to make that connection. And we do that in a variety of ways. Principally, we work through workplace, we work through healthcare, and we work through the schools. In healthcare, we have a program called Boot Camp for New Dads, which helps brand new dads, first-time dads, attend a little workshop if they want to and get a sense of what they're getting into, what it is that they need to know when they take their child home for the first time. Through the schools, we have had our most success in our biggest programs. We have two programs, our statewide fatherhood essay contest that we've operated for 15 years. Throughout the entire state, we have over 200 schools every year that participate. We get over 20,000 essays. What we do is we ask kids to write about what their father means to them. And then we ask the kids to take the essay home and ask dad or their grandfather, whoever they wrote the essay about, to write a reaction to that essay. What is it that they're going to do differently? What is it that they pledge to their son or daughter, grandson, granddaughter, that they're going to do in their lives in the future? So all those essays come back, we go through, we read all of those. We have volunteer reading centers throughout the state, of which Allstate has been a close partner of ours. Just last week you hosted one here for about 70 volunteers. All the essays are read, and then we pick the top 156, the top 12 in each grade level, kindergarten through 12th grade. And then we invite those kids and their dads to come out to a White Sox game. We have a close partnership with the White Sox, give them tickets, they get honored by the White Sox. And then we also pick then 12 finalists that we honored at June dinner that we have as well, where we will pick our Father of the Year, Stepfather, Grandfather, and Father Figure of the Year. So again, it gives the kids an opportunity to spend some time with their dads, gives them an opportunity to write and express their feelings toward their father or father figure, and hopefully make that connection with the dads. We also have a program called Watchdogs, which stands for Dads Are Great Students, which is a program that we offer to schools throughout the state, K through 12 again, where they can invite dads to come to school and spend a day volunteering in school with their kids. You spend time doing all kinds of things. In class, volunteering, reading to kids, at recess, helping out in certain classrooms at the older grades. But again, an opportunity for male role models to come into schools and be present for kids, whether it's your own kids or somebody else's kids. For those, again, 1.1 million kids in the state of Illinois that don't have a dad active in their lives, this is the opportunity to have another male role model that spends some time with them on a daily basis. So again, those are the programs that we do. Again, fundamental to our mission is connecting children and fathers. One of the best things I think our organization ever did was we have a Ricky Birdsong Award, which we give out every fall at a luncheon. Ricky Birdsong, as many of you know, was a former basketball coach of Northwestern University who was tragically shot and killed outside of his home in Evanston a number of years ago. And we worked with his family and dedicated this award. And in essence, we look for three criteria in the individuals that we give this award to. One is that they're a good dad themselves. Second is that they're active in their community. And third is that they have a spiritual dimension to their lives. And this past November, again, when probably what I think is one of the best decisions we ever made as an organization, we chose Desmond Clark to give this award to. And I say that because I don't know that there is any individual that we have ever honored through the 15 years of this organization that has done more and been more accepting of the opportunity and the award we gave than Desmond has. His presence here today is part of that. He's done a number of other things for the organization, and again, I am just so personally thrilled that we've been able to develop this relationship with Desmond over the last 6 months or so. But just before I finish introducing him, I would just like to read to you, every year we put together a publication of some of the best essays that are written by each of the kids in grades K through 12. And I just wanted to leave you with what one of our 11th grade students wrote a couple of years ago. She said, "For years I have been a foster child. I have never known the love a father and daughter share. There was no one there to help me with school. There was no one there to help me out at all. As a child, I had no one to look up to. I had no one to call dad. I have a dad now. He is the most giving, compassionate man I know. He took a girl in who had nowhere to go. Not only was she a stranger, she was a stranger with a past. She was me. He had stood with me through moments of my life that were hell. We have climbed mountains together. The last 2 years, he gave a girl on the brink of death a chance to experience life. He is an example for all people, a member of my big brothers, big sisters, an activist for the homeless, an activist for me. I call him Dad. And again, an example, I think, of what our essay contest can do, what men in general need to do is reach out and provide that connection directly. And again, I hope that our organization can do some of that, and through the support of generous donors such as yourselves, more of that can continue to happen for the next 15 years. One more shameless plug too, we do a golf outing every year. This year is going to be on August 24th. A good opportunity to become more engaged with our organization. To promote it, you can go to our website, which is the number 4fathers.org, and find more information out about the organization and our programs and events. But Guy Cummins, our board member over here, is chairing that event for us this year. Desmond Clark will be at the event. It's a celebrity outing, so all the foursomes get to play with a celebrity. And these are A-list, many of them Chicago area celebrities, but people that you will recognize. And again, it's a good opportunity to come out, have an enjoyable day, support our organization at the same time. So without further ado, I know you're all here to see Desmond, meet him, and hear the inspirational words that he will share with you about his own life and his organization, the 88 Ways Youth Organization, that does some really incredible work to mentor kids. So thank you very much.
Out of the office, kind of just sit back, figure it out. Promise Sean I wasn't gonna mess with him today. I don't know how many people
mess with me.
As they said it, Sean.
You can rip it up.
Can I just step on it? I just want everybody to see this. This is how me and Sean gonna get along right here. So I didn't want to do it, but they made me do it. So I'll just keep it just in case I get upset. I'll step on it. But it's like Kevin was talking about. It's a lot of great organizations out here, but I think what most people need to understand is that greatness all comes from idea. It starts with somebody feeling something, thinking something, having some kind of motivation, some kind of inspiration. And before I start, I'd just like to speak a little bit about IFI. It was started by David Hirsch. I know a couple of Hirsches, I get them mixed up sometimes. David Hirsch. And he was a guy that, being a father, he felt like he was lacking something. But he didn't know how to go about being the good father that he envisioned himself being. So he went out, he sought help from different individuals, and that started the IFI. That started a great organization that in turn helped other men become those great fathers that they want to be. When you have that kind of inspiration, it has to lead to greatness, because it's something good, it's something that's coming from within inside of you, and it only can lead to greatness. This organization has helped many men become better fathers. It has helped many kids connect to their fathers. I know if I'm a father and I'm hearing some of these poems that these kids are reading, to me as a father, it's no other way but you can't do anything but become closer to your kids. I think what they're doing is great, because we all know all the statistics about fatherless homes and how kids could be better if a father was in a home. So what they're doing is great, and it was started by a small idea by David Hirsch, and it's become a great organization. So I think we should give them a round of applause for what they're doing for fathers. And just to go into 88 Ways, like I was saying about the IFI organization, everything starts with idea. Everything starts for some reason, some kind of motivation, some kind of inspiration. So I'd like to give you my inspiration for starting my organization. And it all started about when I was a kid. 7, I don't know exactly when, 7, 8, somewhere around there. My mother and father divorced. And the reason because of that divorce is because my father had developed a drug addiction that had basically tore our family apart. I mean, when I was a kid, early on, you couldn't ask for a better life. We had go-karts, my brother had a moped, lived in a nice apartment. We actually had a pool table in an apartment. When the last time you seen that? We had a pool table in an apartment. So, you know, everything was nice. I mean, we would have the family over. Everybody would come to our house to go have the family barbecue. And we lived right next to a park. We would go out and have the baseball games and basketball games with all the family. So life was good. But like I said, my father developed an addiction. And that took him away from us. And when that took him away from us, that took life as we knew it away from us because he stopped providing. And it was on my mom to raise, at the time, 3 boys on our own. And we could all imagine what kind of devastation that could have in a family when it's one person trying to provide for 3 boys and a woman trying to provide for 3 boys, 3 knuckleheads too at times. I said that. Wasn't bad, we were knuckleheads up. So as I grew up, the one thing that I never lost that connection with my father because I always remember those great times that we had in the house. I mean, my dad would be laying on the couch sleeping. I would come running full speed from the back room and just go and dive on him. And he would sit there and wrestle with me and, you know, we would play fight and do all of that stuff. I mean, I love those times. So those times carried me through the bad times. But the bad times were really bad times. From, like I said, the age of 8 to about 16, 17, my father was addicted to drugs. And during those times, I always wanted to be next to my father. I always wanted to be around my father. I always wanted to be connected to him. That's my dad. Everybody has a longing to be like or be with their dad. So in the midst of his addiction, one thing that he always told me is to come find him on the 1st or the 3rd, whenever it was, when he would get his Social Security check, because he was actually shot and blinded behind his drug addiction. Fussing and fighting with another drug addict, it came back and shot him, and luckily he didn't die, he just lost his eyesight, which probably was the greatest thing that happened to him because it slowed him down a little bit and eventually led him on the road to recovery. But in this time, I would go and find my dad in the city of Lakeland, Florida, where I grew up, at different dope houses around town. So you could imagine some of the stuff that I would see going to find my father. My father, he, not in his right mind, he had his kids around that. So I've seen a lot. And I can tell you right now, it's many different places that I could have been than standing here at Allstate talking to you guys right now. Trust me, had a lot of negative influences in my life. I think the most drastic thing that ever occurred to me is as that relationship grew with my father and he became more comfortable with me being around this type of activity, he would start to ask me to light his crack pipe for him. Not only me, also my brother, but at the time we didn't know that one or the other was doing this type of activity, but as we grew up we kind of found out, yeah, I was doing the same thing too. We never told each other because obviously we didn't want anybody to find out. But just seeing that, it had the effect of me that I never wanted to be involved in anything that had to do with drugs. Because I would see, as I lit my father's crack pipe, him just zone out into who knows where. I would sit and look at him for about a minute, minute and a half, and be like, well, he's gone, I'm gonna leave too, because I know he didn't know I was still there. So having those type of influences, my oldest brother, he was a drug dealer out on the streets, you know, come home, you know, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 and just lay it on the dresser or whatnot. Seeing that type of stuff, I mean, I could have been anywhere. And everybody knows if you have an older brother, you always want to be like your older brother. I started fishing because my older brother started fishing. I started golfing because my older brother started golfing. I drive an F-150. Guess what kind of truck my brother has today? He has an F-150. He got me wanting an F-150. So, and I say all that just to say this, but in the course of all of that, I had a lot of positive influences also. And most of those positive influences came through the way of sports. I've been playing football since I was 6 years old. And I like to call these guys my Coach J's. Coach Joyner, Coach Jackson, Coach Joe, and Coach Jones. My high school and middle school basketball and football coaches. Without those guys and many other people, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you today. I couldn't relay these messages to you because I would have been somewhere different without somebody keeping me in line, telling me, well, Des, this is how you need to get this done, or Des, you won't quit, or Des, this is how you go about living your life, or Des, this is how you prepare for life, or Des, this is how you do this, and this is how you do that. And that's what 88 Ways is all about. As I became a grown man here in Chicago, a couple years after I had my kids, I didn't become a grown man until a couple years after I had my kids. So I was about 26, 27 when I became a grown man. And I started looking back, well, how did I get here? It's been a long road, I've been through so much, seen so much. How did I even get here? Who helped get me here? One thing that I always tell people is that I hate when people say I'm a self-made person. No, you're not. No, you're not. You had a bunch of influences from somewhere. Somebody helped you along the way. Somebody gave you a piece of advice. A lot of people did a lot of things.
Press star 6.
We good?
We're good.
SIT, baby.
You
That's
told them to
IT.
take everything out, right?
I think I did.
Okay. I didn't hear anything crack. But anyway, it's a lot of positive influences that you had. And that's why, just to get, with it, that's why I started 88 Ways, because I was like, if it took so many people to get me here, how many people is going to take to get our younger generation to where they need to go? And I read a book called Can I Call You Soldier that was handed to me by my chaplain for the Bears. His name at the time, and Harry Swain. Handed me the book, and I read it. In that book, it was talking about us men giving back to the younger generation and bringing them along. And in there, it had a section that was talking about men with status. We have a platform to speak from. I guarantee you, if I didn't play with the Bears, you guys won't be in here. Am I not right? We can all be honest.
Probably.
Some of you probably will be in here, but not all of you. And in that book, it says, since you have a platform to speak from, why not use it? If people will listen, why not use it? And that hit home with me. I was doing a few things back in the community, doing a weekend of events, collecting money and giving it to the local, boys clubs or parks and recreation, and that was it. But I wanted to do something that had a more lasting impact. I want to do something that, without me, everything will keep going. And it wasn't about the football player. It was about a community organization. And that's why I started 88 Ways. Something interesting that I don't think a lot of people know before I start talking about 88 Ways. How many people here knew that our fourth graders get tested by the U.S. government, and one of the criteria that they use is literacy to determine how many jail cells are going to be built when those fourth graders are now adults? You got one? I had one last time, so I have two. So, I'm not lying. How sad is that? Why not do something else? Why not put more into prevention than to expecting a problem? That's another reason why 88 Ways has come about, because we're trying to nip some of these things in the bud. The mission of 88 Ways is to develop our youth into well-rounded, productive citizens by cultivating social literacy and leadership skills through adult to youth mentoring. Just here to make a difference. How many in here can say the same thing that I said, that you had 2, 3, 4 people in your lives to help influence you to get here? Exactly. Just about all of us. Just about every successful person could say that. We all have people to influence us. And that's what we need to fill in those gaps for our kids, because believe it or not, a lot of our kids, they don't have that one person. Studies show that if our kids have one consistent, positive adult, go back, one consistent, positive adult, not just any adult, consistent, positive adult in their life, they're 80% more likely to be a productive, well-rounded citizen and help this society out, whether they're going to jail or our tax dollars paying to subsidize their lives. One. How hard is that? But believe it or not, there's a lot of our kids out there that don't have that. So how will we make a difference? I think what we need to do and what I try to do with 88 Ways is 4 things. Talk about people being successful. They all have 4 things in common. They all motivated, they all inspired, they all have discipline, and they all have a vision. Now there are different levels of success, but I guarantee you when you look at somebody who had even a moderate amount of success, they had these 4 things. And I have definitions for all 4. Motivation, to motivate, is basically to provide a motive. Something that causes a person to act in a certain way or do a certain thing. Who are our kids motivated by? Start asking yourself that. First thing that comes to mind, the parents. Are you sure? And are we sure that we always want that from all our parents? So I think about that. Inspiration. To inspire, to produce, to influence, or arouse a feeling or a thought. Where are our kids, or what is producing, influencing, and arousing these thoughts in our kids? What is it? What's their inspiration? Just like somebody said here, a lot of times it's pop culture now. Why is that? Are we letting music and TV and movies raise our kids now and inspire our kids? I bet when you look at yourself, you can't say that you were inspired by these things. Discipline. Everybody knows discipline, the behavior in accord with rules or conduct. But the discipline that I'm talking about is the activity, or exercise, or regimen, a regulated course of living designed for a particular result that develops or improves a skill. For me to get to the NFL, I had to have a certain discipline. Couldn't go and eat burgers every day, although I wish I could. It's good. It is good, but I wouldn't be able to run if I did. Lift weights every day. I had to run every day. I couldn't go hang out at night with everybody else. When I was a little younger, I wanted to, but I couldn't. You have to have a certain discipline to get to wherever you're going. When are our youth experiencing this training or discipline? When is it happening? Vision, a vivid imagination, conception, or anticipation. I look at vision like this: working diligently to build tomorrow today. Vision gives us intention and purpose. If you don't have a vision, you're just walking through life floating. Where are you receiving this vision of the future? I can tell you the who, what, when, and where, according to what I'm trying to do. Who? Our mentors. That's who we're trying to get people, that's who we're trying to have motivate our kids. The where, or the what, is the Talks Mentoring program that we go into the schools and provide. The when, once a week for 45 minutes a week. And the vision and where it's being done is right in the school building. Our mentors using our Talks Mentor program once a week for 45 minutes a week going into school. If we can build a network of mentors that can do this, we can touch so many lives by one visit for 45 minutes to school every week. Now, if y'all just bear with me for a little bit, I'm gonna let you know how our program works and kind of the nuts and bolts of it. Talks Mentoring. It's an acronym for transferring a little knowledge systematically. I'll say that one more time. Talks Mentoring. Talks. Transferring a little knowledge systematically. That's exactly what we do. We go in and deposit a little bit every time, 45 minutes. Got another one of those tweets yesterday too. Happens every time. The vision of Talks Mentoring is to share wisdom between generations. The purpose is to lead young men and women to make personal commitments to excellence and integrity. The goal is a structured, constructive way of connecting communities to schools and our youth. We bring the community to the school to mentor our youth. And we use a curriculum, and that's that Talks Mentoring program that I talked about. Our kids receive a mentee book, and our mentors receive a mentor's guide. And that's what we do our mentoring from. It's structured, pragmatic, and practical. We address hard topics. How many of you got kids? How many of you enjoy talking to your kids about sex? Exactly. We discuss those things. We discuss gangs. We discuss fatherless, motherless homes, homelessness. We discuss guns and different things in society. We really get into the conversation with these kids. But what this does, it creates an opportunity for men and women, mature men and women, to go back and share wisdom with our kids. That's what it's all about. Like I mentioned earlier, one of the unique features is that the average session for this is 30 to 45 minutes. It doesn't take a long period of time or a big time commitment out of us to get this done. We're a content-based curriculum. That means you as a mentor, you don't have to sit back and think, okay, what am I gonna go talk to Johnny and Jennifer about today? No, it's all laid out for you. It's all right there. I get into a little bit more about that later. It's a 1-on-3 approach. Our mentors, we mentor 3 kids at a time. What it do, it reduces the common pitfalls related to mentoring, such as student manipulation, the mother and father replacement syndrome, unhealthy dependency on a mentor, and the risk of false accusations from a minor. And we mentor in 3 ways, or pass wisdom, as we like to say, in 3 ways, through the lesson, through the questions, and through the quotes of wisdom. The lesson is a 2 to 3 page reading that we go paragraph by paragraph, have discussion, read, have the kids read. They don't understand words, we have them look them up. Just think about this as we talk about 4th graders getting tested for literacy. As they read through these books, which challenge them with literacy, they don't know a word, they have to look it up and they have to memorize it, they have to own their word. Over the course of the whole school year, each kid learns 30 words, 30 new words. That's 90 words from that whole group. Talking about improving literacy. And I'm gonna get off subject. I was talking with Mrs. Jordan from Roosevelt Middle School. And something that she told me that made a lot of sense to me is that school, just like church, is not 4 walls in a building. School is experience. School is all the time. For instance, if a kid goes home to uneducated parents who don't have a vast vocabulary compared to kids going home to college educated parents, which kid you think gonna have a better vocabulary? It's not because of the school, it's because of the conversations that they're having at home. If a kid goes to a home that's in poverty where they don't get to go out and experience things, compared to a kid that gets to go and experience the museum and experience whatever places, who do you think gonna be more well-rounded? So schooling is just not in school. So 88 Ways, although we're a mentoring program, we're also teachers for these students because we're giving them experience. We're giving them that conversation. We're giving them other things besides what they get in the textbook in school. What was I? The lessons. Okay, and then we have discussion questions. That's the second wave. So after we read the lessons, we have questions that's specifically there to generate discussion for our students and our mentors. The third wave is quotes of wisdom. We take quotes of wisdom from everybody, to a Gandhi, to a Muhammad Ali, to whatever rapper. If it's something provocative that's gonna get conversation going, guaranteed it's in that book somewhere. Everybody know who the father of knowledge is: repetition. So we repeat things in 3 different unique ways so they can get it. How do we measure the success of our Talks Mentor program? We study the kids' GPA, attendance, promotional rate, standardized testing, disciplinary actions, all factors compared to the students before and after they got into the program, the student body, and CPS statistics. Can we say if a student raises his grade point average from a 2.5 to a 3.5, that's us? No, we can't say that wholeheartedly, but we can say that we have a part in it. We can't say that. Let's talk about how we want, before I get there, I think all of us grow up with certain things that's etched into us that we remember from day one. Going back talking about my Coach J's, told you about Coach Jordan and Coach Jackson. That was my middle school basketball and football coach. They both coached basketball and football. So, Little League, I'm the quarterback or the running back throughout my entire Little League career. I get to middle school, they want me to play center. I don't play center. I'm a better athlete than that. Give me a break. I'm playing quarterback, or I'm playing running back, or I'm not playing. It wasn't happening. I tried to quit. They came and picked me up on my way to my grandmother's house. They made everybody else wait until they came and picked me up. As I was walking to my grandmother's house, they told me I couldn't quit, told me to get in the car, let's go practice. Guess what? Since that day, it's been etched in me that I can't quit. When I start something, I have to finish it. Coach Jones, oh my God, we always had some of the best basketball teams in the state. Our second stringers could have started on other high school teams. And he used to kill us in practice. But one thing that he said is that if practice is harder than the game is going to be easy for us. We were always ranked top 10, most of the time top 5 in the state. Guess what? It worked. We won just about every game that we went into. And that translated to life. If your preparation is there, you're going to win. You're going to do well. That always stuck with me. All I have to do is prepare, and I'll win. The last thing from Coach Joe. Like I just said, I played basketball. Coach Joe was my football coach. Coach Joe didn't like me spending too much time playing basketball. But this one spring or summer, I was doing a lot of basketball stuff, and he took exception to it. I don't know why. I think he was wrong for coming at me because he got in my face. This is a big 6'5", 300 pounder. At the time, I was kind of tall, but I was like 190 pounds. He got in my face. He's just berating me about, I need to do this, need to do that. I think he caught himself. And he stepped back and he said, son, all you have is your last name and your word. Don't ever drag your last name through the mud or dirty your last name. That's all you have. Since that day, I don't know why he told me that, because he was going off about something else, which I still don't know why. But since that day, I've been living by that. The most important thing to me personally, not saying like kids or family or anything like that, but what makes me who I am is that I treasure my last name. When I walk into this room, I want people to smile and say, well, Desmond Clark is going to be here. I don't want people, oh, who invited that guy here? He's a butthole. That's important to me. And I can tell you, being honest, this guy right here wouldn't have called me because he told me he did extensive research before he actually asked me to come and do this. And every time somebody comes back to me and say, oh, I heard this about you, or I heard you did this, or I seen you do that, or somebody else told me about you, I think back to Coach Joe. And I say thanks, Coach Joe, because it means a lot. But now getting back to this, one of the things that we tell our kids, one of the things that our kids learn from the 3rd grade, that Dr. Davis was here to tell you about this. He said, have grown men come and tell him this now. This is a thesis statement for boys. And ladies, I'm sorry, I'm a man, so I relate everything to boys, but trust me, it's an equal side to this for the woman also. Everything that I'm saying is a woman's version also. It's volume 1 and volume 2 of woman's version. But if I was up here trying to be a woman, y'all look at me crazy. So, the thesis statement reads, every boy or young man, because once they get a certain age, you can't call them a boy anymore, you take offense to it. So every boy or young man needs a man in his space challenging him with wisdom regarding critical issues and decisions in life. How many of us see young men that don't like anybody challenging them? They see it as disrespect. Oh, you disrespecting me. No, son, nobody's disrespecting you. I'm trying to tell you what's really going on. Think about if the boys had this etched into them since the 3rd grade, and how they'll be more receiving of advice, of admonishment when they need it. The explanation of this is every boy needs a man who will firmly, unflinchingly, lovingly correct him with wisdom when he has made a bad decision. Our prisons are full of young men who had no one to get in their face, tell them when they were wrong, and the most important thing about this whole thing is provide them with a solution. If our men that's in prison right now had somebody to get in their face and say, you know what, you're wrong. Why don't you shut up for a minute and listen? And take the advice that somebody that was older was giving them because they've been down that road before. How many people wouldn't be in prison right now? Wouldn't have made that dumb decision? That's what we're trying to circumvent at an early age. How we going to schools? I'm 14 right now. I'm batting 1,000 when I go to a school and tell them, I got this wonderful program for you guys. It's called Talks Mentoring, and it's administrated through 88 Ways Youth Organization. We'll come in, we'll mentor over the course of 3 years, 90 to 120 of your students for free. No one has said no yet. Batting 1,000. But when we go in, we identify a coordinator from the school, and what that coordinator does, they identify the children who needs the mentoring. But we don't get at-risk kids, so to speak. It's not an at-risk program. A little bit more about that later. We get the students permission slips, we match the mentors and the mentees together, and that coordinator oversees the practical steps of the program, the details of the program. What we do, on the other hand, we go out and recruit the mentors. Our mentors fill out the application, background checks, and whatever else is needed to go into the schools and do the mentoring. Down in CPS, never had this before. They have to do TB testing. Kind of odd, but they do. So we get everything that they need so they can go in. We schedule a training, and then we'll share the expectations for those mentors before we turn them loose, and they can start transferring a little bit of knowledge systematic to the kids. How do we identify the mentees? We choose students of similar age but in the same grade to be in a group. And the group consists of a high achieving, a middle achieving, and a low achieving student, what some people may call at risk. But one thing that all of our students must have is some type of leadership qualities, because we're trying to cultivate literacy, social, and leadership skills. So if they don't have leadership skills, we really, I want to say we don't want them, but we want people with leadership skills. For the next 6 years, we have a plan to grow to where we're mentoring 2,700 students. So guess what? If you divide 2,700 by 3, how many mentors do we need in the next 6 years? We need 900 mentors. So it's a pretty lofty goal, but we'll get there. I think the most important part about this program, and I always have to tell people this, we've all been kids, right? I hope so. I hope you know what it's like to be born as an adult. You? Yeah. Yeah. But as kids, I think we all been a little mischievous. But one thing kids will do, they'll say what's on their mind. And when you're in a school and you have to go to a quote-unquote mentoring program, you get stigmatized. So what we try to do to release that stigma is we try to reward our students for achieving at certain levels. And the way that we do that is by taking them on field trips. You remember that whole thing about experience, getting them out to see. One thing when I started at school, Catholic Charter School in the North London area, you could walk on the street right off of Spalding and look east and see all the buildings downtown. But the school administration told me that most of those kids that's in that school would probably never ever set foot in downtown. How can that be? They could literally walk downtown in probably an hour, but they said they'll never set foot in downtown. So that whole experience thing, we try to get them out to see things, to do things. But what that also does, and ladies, I'm talking about the boys. I don't know what girls I do because I got 2 girls, but I know what boys like to do. And I know if you take a boy down to Soldier Field, give him a tour of Soldier Field, which costs little to nothing, phone call, some insurance, bus, gas, take him down. And they come back with pictures of being in Urlacher's locker room and being in Devin Hessel's locker, Urlacher's locker, and Devin Hessel's locker. And they bring that back to school. Guess who's on top of the school now? Oh, yeah, that's that little mentoring program that you go to, huh? So what are y'all doing next? So we try to do things like that where we reward our students and also get them experience by taking them places like the museum and other places. I think that is the most important part about this program, is that we get those kids experience and get those kids exposure to different things. Just to start finishing up, got a couple of stats that I want to read off to you. I've seen the difference that mentoring can make. I don't know if you have, but if you ever get involved, you'll see it too. A couple numbers. When kids enjoy regular positive activity with an adult over the course of a year, those kids are 46% likely to not begin using drugs, 27% less likely to begin using alcohol, 50% less likely to skip school. This decreased drug-related suspensions, drug-related crime, and the number of babies born drug-affected. You tell me, is that worth 1 hour of our time a week to see those numbers? 1 hour of our time? I want to read something from someone who was a mentee. And when I read this, I kind of thought of myself. And it reads, from the start, I was expected to lose. Everything I have right now is mostly because I defied what the world concluded about me before I could even speak a word in my own defense. And my defense is that I am just as capable as any person to do great things. Like you, I think about all the things this world could achieve if only every child was given the right tools. Mentoring is the right tool. It is the way to the American dream. That was written by Ian Garrett, who was a mentee somewhere. I don't know, I pulled it up off the internet. I thought that was pretty powerful. There's over 16 million at-risk youth right now who need mentors. Say at-risk youth. One thing the 88 Ways mentoring program is about is not just about at-risk. So if it's 16 million at-risk youth that need it, how many million youth, period, need it? It's way more youth out here, just regular youth, than at-risk youth. So let's say 3 times 16, 48 million, 64 million total, that could use 1 hour of our time. What was the guy's name who got up and spoke from the beginning? Roger? Roger over there spoke about giving to different organizations because it's personal. And one thing that I always encounter, and it kind of gets me going, gets up under my skin, when I put out stuff on social networks, they always get, oh, well, good job, Des, you keep it up, nice work, you're doing a great job. Man, but you always get somebody that come back and say, well, how can I help? And I think we need to start doing more of that, asking how can I help? Because I think most people don't really see the effects that they can have because it's not personal to them. But let me tell you why this should be personal to you. I know I have. Went to an ATM before and didn't feel necessarily like I was safe. Guess whose problem that is? It ain't just the guy who's supposed to be mentoring him or the mom and dad. Oh, it's your problem now. When our tax dollars are going to build more prisons instead of building up our youth, guess what problem that is now? That's your problem. And this is how it was made personal to me by Dr. Davis. And you all that got young kids probably can identify with this. Dr. Davis said, Des, and this at the time my girls were 4 years, about to turn 4. You got 2 little girls, 2 twin little girls. So he said 17, 18, 19, 20 years, they'll probably be getting married to somebody. Who are they gonna get married to? What part did you play in helping raise these young boys to marry your girls? That hit home. Everybody wants to see their kids marry the right person, but what are we doing to help society have a nice pool of people so they can marry the right person? So for me, that made it very personal. And I'll close with this. I kept stressing 1 hour of time. Doesn't seem like a lot to me. 1 hour of time. I think a lot of times when we go out and we see people doing things, we think, oh man, they just gotta give so much, they're doing so much, and you know, I can't get involved because I don't have enough time. I can't really do this, I can't really do that, just don't have enough time. Well, a lot of these organizations, not just my organization, a lot of these organizations, if you could just donate just a small portion of your time, your money, or whatever it may be, just by helping them going and putting on an event, being on that committee, doing something minimal. If each and every one of us do a small little part, I guarantee you if I had each one of y'all go and recruit me one mentor, you know how much impact that had? And I guarantee you right now, each one of y'all probably can think about 3 people right now who will make a good mentor. And if each one of y'all went and recruited one mentor, which would take one phone call, that would have a significant impact. That's not a whole lot to do. So when you encounter these groups that's asking for your help, asking for your time, just think about the smallest thing you can do, and I guarantee you it'll make a big impact. And as everybody does something small, it's gonna build to be a big significance. I guarantee you. That's what I've been saying ever since I've done this. People coming with small donations or small commitments of time, building something that's turned out to be great. I guarantee you, if Kevin was still here, he'll attest to that too. We all know how that works. One thing that my slogan is now, I play football, so I relate everything in sports. I'm gonna ask all of you people here to just get in the game. Don't sit on the sidelines. Don't cheer everybody else on who's doing something good. Come out and be involved. If it's not with 88 Ways or IFI, there's a lot of great organizations out there. Just get involved. Get in the game. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Doug. I just wanted to recap on some of the stuff. Actually, that's actually a good segue into the Allstate actually matches for volunteer hours. So if you actually volunteer